Hey everybody, it's Dr. Hyman here, and I'm with one of the most important people in my life, Dr. Jeffrey Bland.
We're having such fun.
We just made the most unbelievable brunch from this amazing product that called Himalayan tartary buckwheat from Big Bold Health. It's all backwards, but don't worry about it. Big Bold Health. And we made the recipe from my new book, The Pegan Diet, out February 23rd. Make sure you get a copy. Go to pegandiet.com. And in the book, there is an extraordinary recipe that we just made for a group of people that just blew us away. I made enough actually for like 20 people, and there was just 6 of us. And we thought we were gonna have an extra show, but there's nothing here. It's the chai buckwheat pancakes made from this extraordinary flour, which we're going to talk about in a minute, that Jeffrey Bland has rediscovered. And it is, a perfect example, and I write about it in the Pegan Diet. It's a perfect example of food as medicine. It is full of an extraordinary array of phytochemicals. There's some of which are found nowhere else in the world that have the ability to rejuvenate your immune system and heal your body. So Jeff, welcome to my Instagram Live.
Wow, this is so much fun. Thank you. And what a treat and what a gustatory celebration we just had. All those guests that you had walked out of here saying, I want flour, I want to do this.
I was like, we made it up for 2 pancakes for everybody. And they were like, okay, I think I have some more batter left. How many people want more pancakes? Everybody, I'm like, you want 1 or 2? They're like, 2. But we ran out, and it was so good. And Jeff, I really wrote this book, The Pegan Diet, because I want people to understand what you have taught me, and you've taught probably 250,000 other healthcare providers over the years, and which is now a meme in society, which is that food is medicine. I mean, even at Cleveland Clinic, we now have a food is medicine program. Even in Congress, they have a food is medicine working group. And that really all came from you talking about how food is not just calories, but information. And that's the purpose of this book, is really help people understand the way in which food is information and quality matters. And I want to take you down the rabbit hole with this incredible product, this from Big Bold Health. Check it out, Big Bold Health, Himalayan tartary buckwheat. It ain't no normal buckwheat. So, Jeff, I want you to sort of explain to people first, what was the origin story of you discovering Himalayan tartary buckwheat?
Yeah, well, very simply,
give us the abridged version.
The abridged version, yeah.
Because the Jeff Bland version could be 3 hours.
Yeah, it can. Yeah. So here goes the Classics Illustrated version, and that is, I just had 2 serendipitous things happen within a few months of one another that introduced me to this ancient food product that's 3,500 years in human consumption, Himalayan tartary buckwheat. One was the visit with a Vanderbilt University professor who was studying a unique ingredient that was found actually only in this kind of buckwheat called 2-hydroxybenzylamine that had an effect on blood pressure through the immune system, and that kind of piqued my interest because I never heard that blood pressure could be influenced by the immune system. So that.
But didn't you teach us that high blood pressure is an inflammatory disease?
Yeah, but I never thought exactly about the vascular endothelium.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, so that was number 1. And then number 2, very quickly after that, I was in China, in Harbin, China, way up there in the northernmost province of China, with a host that was having me speak to about 10,000 Chinese doctors at this big meeting. And on the way back, he was talking about various things, and I asked him does he know anything about Himalayan tartary buckwheat? And he just stopped and said, oh my word, that is the central focus of our interest, and we have a big research group on that, and we've been looking for somebody in the United States that we could partner with that would understand the story. So that became the start. And then the last feature is I came home to speak to my colleague, and Trish Uri. And Trish, I said, I don't know much about this Himalayan buckwheat. I wonder if it's available in the United States. She sleuthed the internet and found only one place that it had been grown, artisanally grown by a farmer and his wife in upstate New York, an ex-Cornell University ag professor who was doing it as a consequence of a unique experience they had with the USDA getting seeds that weren't even labeled. And they started growing it, and they were the only people in the United States that were still actually cultivating this. So we became a partner. Now I'm in regenerative, organic Himalayan tartary buckwheat agriculture.
So this is basically, it hits all the buckets, right? Regenerative agriculture, so it restores the soil, helps restore ecosystems on farms, helps farmers make more money, and it restores the soil. It actually draws down carbon. And it's full of phytochemicals that we need now more than ever because of COVID to regenerate our immune system. And so, Jeff, what I learned from you is that in this product, and this is an example of this phenomena we call hormesis. It's a big word, but essentially means what doesn't kill you make you stronger. Yeah. So these plants, these Himalayan buckwheat plants, are grown in the harshest conditions. They're undergoing tremendous amount of stress, water stress, and stress from lack of good temperature and bad soils and everything, and it forces them to create all these protective mechanisms, which are these phytochemicals. Now there's 25,000 of these in the plant world, but there's about 132 in this one, and what these do is pretty remarkable, and they do things that no other chemicals do. And the other thing you told me, Jeff, is this is not a grain, right?
No, that's a fruit seed actually.
It's a fruit seed, so it's not a grain.
No.
Even though it's called buckwheat, it's not wheat, and it's not a grain. It's a fruit seed, and it's also full of all kinds of fibers that help your microbiome. It's a pretty amazing food product. But tell us about how these phytochemicals are unique. And there's a story about your immune system that's relevant now because most of us are worried about COVID. We're worried about strengthening our immune systems, but we really don't know how. And this is a way to do it. And it's not only the flower, but there's an incredible set of products, a supplement, for example, HTB Rejuvenate, which helps rejuvenate your immune system, that comes from the same plant. It's like having a quarter pound of the flower every day, but you just take a few capsules. So, Jeff, tell us about, just briefly, in a way that people can understand, because you're not talking to necessarily doctors here.
Yeah.
How does the immune system go awry and make us age? And then how does Himalayan tartary buckwheat and the phytochemicals rejuvenate your immune system?
Well, we've all heard recently that our immune system, as we grow older, ages, and it doesn't work as well. We've learned that through our COVID-19 and the whole discussion of immune system. And that begs the question, why does it not work as well? What happens to our immune system as we get older? And the answer to that, simply put, is that our immune system collects bad experiences. It gets kind of injured along the way. It develops these resonant problems that really make it more inflammatory prone and less able to actually protect us against infection. The only way you can get rid of that, other than start over with birthday number one, is to roll back that biological injury to your immune system. And that's called immunorejuvenation. It's a new process that really immunology is just starting to discover. And it turns out, lo and behold, that the portfolio of phytochemicals in Himalayan tartary buckwheat are actually now demonstrated to influence that immunorejuvenation process, to actually regenerate a younger, more naive immune system, getting rid of those cells that collect all these damage and are making this inflammation prone.
I mean, it's an incredible story. So what Jeff taught me that is that your bone marrow has stem cells that make white blood cells. You make 1 million white blood cells every second. And sometimes those stem cells get injured by bad diet, toxins, stresses, and they become sort of like mutant stem cells, and they produce these funky mutant white blood cells that get in your system, and they're called chips, but the other term for them is zombie cells. It's just like what they sound like. They kind of reproduce themselves, and they just go on, and they age your immune system. And there's very few things that can kill these zombie cells. Turns out that the Himalayan tartary buckwheat can kill the zombie cells. So not only does it help with so many different things in there, for example, like the quercetin in there is very high, which we know now maybe have a huge effect on COVID, but it has all these other molecules that collectively help rejuvenate your immune system by killing the zombie cells and rejuvenating your immune system so you actually age backwards. And that's just one example of this whole field of food as medicine, one example of the ways in which we now know how to rejuvenate our biology and age backwards. And that's really what Jeff has taught me all these years. Without him, I would not be who I am. I would not have half of what I've done. I should probably be sick for chronic fatigue syndrome, and I'd never have gotten healthy because it was really through functional medicine, what Jeff taught so many of us, that really I was able to heal myself. And this whole concept of food as medicine is just so central to the future of healthcare. And this product in Himalayan tartary buckwheat is sort of a superstar. I hope you all get to try it. Don't all try to buy it at once because they're just ramping up production. There's this one guy that got these seeds by accident and started growing a few acres, and now we've got 100,000 pounds, but we need more. And I can't wait for you to check it out. I can't wait for you to try the chai pancakes because they're damn good. We're going to post some pictures of that. We're going to post some pictures of us making the pancakes. It's so good and it's so delicious. And you know what? You don't have to suffer because you can eat well and feel good and heal yourself all at the same time while really enjoying yourself and friends and family. So I hope you all stay healthy, stay good, and make sure you take care of your immune systems. And we'll see you next time.
Thanks a million. Read the book. It is fantastic. I told Mark I read it this morning. It is a fantastic book. Lots of news to use.
Thanks a million. Thank you, Jeff. All right, we'll see you guys later.